So right now, today, I call on President Biden, former President Biden and his staff, release the documents. You have them, you know you have them, release them. If what you did is legal, and if you're really not embarrassed about it, and you think it was totally constitutional, release the paper flow. Show us the documents where the president authorized the use of the pen for every single pardon and clemency and stay application. Let's see it. Let's see all of it. And if you won't do it, we should subpoena those documents, and we should find out the truth of who was really running the White House, because I think we can see it was not Joe Biden. Thank you all for being here today. Mr. Wold, thanks for your testimony. Where are they now? They don't want to answer for any of those quotes now. They lied to us for 4 years, and we know they lied. They know they lied. It's why they're not here. They don't want to answer a single question. They can't bear to show their faces in public. And you know what? It's right that they can't do that, because the bill of goods they sold this country, they walked this country right into one of the greatest constitutional crises of our history, And now they are afraid to even show up to admit it. These are people, and this is a party that cannot be trusted with power.
To Congress.
Well, I think the answer is we need to get those documents. And I just say to our friends in the media over here, you guys need to be asking for those documents, and we need to be asking for them, Mr. Chairman. We need to see those documents. And the president, the former president now, can certainly choose to release them. I'm sure they're part of his personal papers. Right, Mr. Wold?
Welcome back to Conservative Call. Patriots, if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button right now and smash the like button, because what I'm about to show you will absolutely blow your mind. This is the kind of truth the mainstream media doesn't want you to see. Folks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to all the witnesses for being here. You know, the visual, sometimes it really is true. A picture speaks louder than words. It's worth 1,000 words. And here, all you have to do is look over at this side of the dais to see that the stone wall continues. I mean, from the party that lied to this nation for 4 years, let's just take a look at some of the things that our colleagues said on the Democrat side when their own Justice Department was concluding that Joe Biden, who, let's not forget, illegally took classified documents and kept them in his garage, in his freezer. I mean, Lord knows where. He just certainly didn't know. Their own Justice Department interviewed the guy and concluded he could not form the requisite mental state to stand trial. He did not have the mental ability to stand trial. And what did our Democrat colleagues say? Vice President Harris says, oh, no, the way that the Hur report characterized the president is so wrong. The president's demeanor is totally fine. Senator Smith, what the Hur said about the president not remembering his son's death, so unfair. Senator Kaine said this is grandstanding. Senator Fetterman said it's just cheap shots. You had other senators saying, Senator Ossoff in February of 2024, saying, and I quote, I found the president to be sharp, focused, impressive, formidable, and effective. In June 2024, Congressman Jeffries insists Biden was, and I'm quoting again, incredibly strong, forceful, and decisive. Where are they now? They don't want to answer for any of those quotes now. They lied to us for 4 years, and we know they lied. They know they lied. It's why they're not here. They don't want to answer a single question. They can't bear to show their faces in public. And you know what? It's right that they can't do that, because the bill of goods they sold this country, they walked this country right into one of the greatest constitutional crises of our history, And now they are afraid to even show up to admit it. These are people, and this is a party that cannot be trusted with power, that cannot be trusted to tell the truth, the most basic truth. They all changed their tunes after Joe Biden debated President Trump, and the whole world could see he couldn't even form a sentence, that running this guy for president again is a form of elder abuse. My, how they changed their tunes after that. Now they can't even show up in public to talk about it. This is embarrassing. But worse than that, it's dangerous. It is dangerous for this country. Mr. Wold, I want to pick up on something you just said a second ago about the OLC and their opinion as to when an auto pen can be used. Just be clear about this. Auto pen means not signed by the person. Auto pen is basically push of a button and it gets signed. OLC says only when the president specifically directs it and it is under his direct authority. Do I basically have that right?
That's correct, Senator.
So, based on the facts we know, did that happen in this case with all of the pardons and clemencies and other giveaways that Joe Biden signed?
Assuming that the Biden White House complied with sort of traditional practice of presidential administrations and that there was record keeping either from the staff secretary or others, there should be records to indicate either through covering memorandum or briefing books where the president would have signed his signature authorizing this decision. None of that has come forward. That would be very easy to dispel some of these concerns. And I think what we're seeing here is really the auto pen is best understood as sort of a tool of executive convenience.
Hold on just a second. I just want you just said something very important. I want to emphasize that. So what you're saying is that there should be, for every time that Biden authorized the auto pen, there should be a record of that. And he should have had to have registered his personal consent to using the auto pen. Is that basically correct?
I think to put it another way, I would say in the policy paper flow to the Oval Office, there should be a record of what documents are presented to the president when and when he gave his assent to the actions that are listed in those documents, whether it's a judicial nomination or it's a statutory response to Congress.
Well, I think the answer is we need to get those documents. And I just say to our friends in the media over here, you guys need to be asking for those documents, and we need to be asking for them, Mr. Chairman. We need to see those documents. And the president, the former president now, can certainly choose to release them. I'm sure they're part of his personal papers, right, Mr. Wold?
And that's correct. And the first place to start would be the staff secretary's office under President Biden.
Oh, here's the trail. If you want to know, if you want an answer to the question, did Joe Biden actually assent to the use of the auto pen and all? You think of all the people he pardoned, he granted clemency to: murderers, drug dealers, child rapists. Let's find out. Did he actually authorize it? There should be a record of it, is what we've learned today. Thank you for that testimony, Mr. Wold. There should be a record of it. So this is a binary question. It's not, oh, we don't know, gee, it's hard to say. No, actually, we can find out. So right now, today, I call on President Biden, former President Biden and his staff, release the documents. You have them, you know you have them, release them. If what you did is legal, and if you're really not embarrassed about it, and you think it was totally constitutional, release the paper flow. Show us the documents where the president authorized the use of the pen for every single pardon and clemency and stay application. Let's see it. Let's see all of it. And if you won't do it, we should subpoena those documents, and we should find out the truth of who was really running the White House, because I think we can see it was not Joe Biden. Thank you all for being here today. Mr. Wold, thanks for your testimony.
Folks, we just witnessed one of the most damning congressional hearings in recent memory, and it exposes everything we've been saying about the Biden administration for years. What we're looking at here is nothing short of a constitutional crisis, and the Democrats who orchestrated this deception are nowhere to be found. Let me break down what just happened in this Senate hearing, because this is explosive. We have a Republican senator laying out the cold, hard facts about how Democrats systematically lied to the American people about Joe Biden's mental fitness for 4 straight years. And when I say lied, I mean bold-faced, deliberate deception. The Department of Justice, Biden's own Justice Department, concluded that Joe Biden illegally took classified documents. Let that sink in. This wasn't some partisan hit job. This was his own people saying he broke the law. But here's the kicker. They found he couldn't even stand trial because he lacked the mental capacity to form the requisite mental state. In plain English, they're saying he wasn't mentally competent enough to be held responsible for his crimes. Now, any reasonable person would ask how someone who isn't mentally fit to stand trial could possibly be fit to run the most powerful nation on earth. But instead of addressing this obvious concern, what did the Democrats do? They doubled down on the lies. Listen to these quotes from 2024. Vice President Harris said the characterization of Biden was wrong, and his demeanor was totally fine. Senator Smith called criticism unfair. Senator Kaine called it grandstanding. These people looked the American public in the eye and told us everything was perfectly normal when they knew it wasn't. We had senators like Senator Ossoff in February 2024 calling Biden sharp, focused, impressive, formidable, and effective. Congressman Jeff in June 2024 insisted Biden was incredibly strong, forceful, and decisive. Where are these people now? They're hiding. They won't show their faces because they know they got caught. The truth came out during that debate with President Trump when the whole world could see Biden couldn't even form coherent sentences. That's when their house of cards came crashing down. Suddenly, all these Democrats who spent years telling us Biden was sharp as a tack went silent. But here's where it gets even more disturbing. We're learning about something called an auto pen, which is basically an automated signature system. The Office of Legal Counsel says this can only be used when the president specifically directs it and it's under his direct authority. The problem is there should be records of every time Biden authorized this auto pen, especially for major decisions like pardons and clemencies. Think about what this means. Biden used this auto pen to pardon murderers, drug dealers, and child rapists. But did he actually authorize these pardons, or was someone else making these decisions while he was mentally incapacitated? The witness testified that there should be a clear paper trail showing Biden's personal consent for each use of the auto pen. This isn't speculation, folks. This is a binary question with a clear answer. Either the documents exist proving Biden was mentally competent and personally authorized these controversial pardons, or they don't. And if they don't exist, we need to ask who was really running the White House. The senator is absolutely right to demand these documents be released. If Biden and his team have nothing to hide, if everything was above board and constitutional, then release the paperwork. Show us the staff secretary's records. Prove that Biden was actually making these decisions and not just rubber stamping whatever his handlers put in front of him. But I'll bet you anything they won't release those documents because they can't. They can't prove Biden was mentally competent to make these decisions because he wasn't. We've been governed by a shadow presidency, and the Democrats covered it up for 4 years. This is exactly why the American people rejected the Democratic Party so decisively in the last election. People could see through the lies. Even when the media was complicit in the cover-up, we knew something wasn't right, and now we have the receipts. The Democrats who participated in this deception cannot be trusted with power ever again. They put their political ambitions ahead of the Constitution, ahead of national security, and ahead of the American people's right to know who is actually running their government. This hearing proves what we've been saying all along. The 2020 to 2024 period will go down as one of the most dangerous times in American history. Not because of external threats, but because our own political establishment was willing to prop up an incapacitated president to maintain power. Patriots, this is why your voice matters. This is why we fight for transparency and accountability. The mainstream media won't tell you this story because it destroys their narrative, but we will. Conservative voices like this channel are essential for getting the truth out there. Make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell so you never miss our coverage of stories like this. Share this video with everyone you know because the American people deserve to know what really happened during those 4 years. The constitutional crisis is real, the cover-up is exposed, and the Democrats responsible are in hiding. That tells you everything you need to know about who is really looking out for America's interests. Thanks for watching Conservative Call, and remember, the truth will always come out. We just have to keep fighting for it.